Hey guys, it's Holytaboo and I'm back, and I'm saying it like that because I was trying to do a video every week. I got ill again, then I got quite busy in BDO and real life, and next thing I know, it's been like, I swear, over 2 weeks, and I do apologise. So I'm saying week 6 with a wink wink, nudge nudge. I know I'm behind and I've got to The Guardian and the Gardening Succession, and we've got to talk about this and lots of other stuff to talk about. But anyway, this video we're going to talk about the Dark Knight Succession and the Dark Knight Succession Aftermath, which is where we are now, especially as it's been out for a while. So let's jump in and let's have a look at some sort of positives and negatives, what we've seen so far about the Dark Knight Succession. So first things first, you know what, I don't know why I say this, and I'm always going to keep it as a first point, but the damage on the Succession is very high. This does follow a very standard sort of thing that we're seeing with BDO with the Successions. Nearly all of them, obviously, sorry Zerkers and Tamers, but you know, the damage on these Successions are very high, and the Dark Knight is no exception. It has a lot of damage, and it's quite well protected as well, and it's doing really nice things in Node Wars in certain areas, but we'll get into that in a bit. There have been some quality of life improvements, which I know some of the more sort of experienced Dark Knights have been telling me, such as airstrike will only bound it if they're not floating, which means the player doesn't actually have to turn it when it lands, and that used to be a thing to not mess up your CC. Also, the Karma Slash, which was one that you could charge up to get a frontal guard, that will now follow which way your mouse is pointing, so you can move your frontal guard around. So again, you know, those two aren't necessarily game-breaking changes, but they're things that make a really nice quality of life change, and something that Cacao, to be fair, could have done ages ago to make it better. But hey, it's in now, so let's be happy. So an obvious thing to say is that it's lost a bit of its kit. Of course, it's lost the range portion of its kit. And, you know, for some people, they really won't like that. Now, it's not all sort of doom and gloom here. A few of the moves now do have, like, a better range on. So you do actually have, like, a range CC. It's just not as far as, say, for instance, I can't remember the moves from far. I want to say something like Seed. You know, it's been ages since I've played a Dark Knight properly. But yeah, so you do have a bit of range sort of CC potential, but realistically, you know, you're now melee. Now, keep in mind, obviously being melee, something that people are going to like is, remember Wheel of Fortune, or something that a lot of DKs used to meme about, Wheel of Misfortune, because it could go wrong very badly, because half the time it felt like it never actually hit the CC, and half the time it did. Well, that's considerably more reliable now, so you won't have to be casting that thinking, oh god, here we go. It's a 50-50 chance, here we go. So, you know, that is a positive thing to come out of this. So, for those people who enjoyed the melee version of the Dark Knight, you know, when it first came out, I know some people absolutely loved it, then you're going to absolutely have a ball with this Succession. It is really nice, and, you know, it grinds pretty smooth as well. So, you know, the comment, like I said before, the damage is up. The nice thing about the damage as well, it has very high burst potential. I know I've been recently fighting some of the Succession DKs after, you know, it's not really a break, like I said, of, you know, being ill and stuff. I wasn't on so much, and in fact, I trialed for a new guild, and one of the first people I went up against was a Succession Dark Knight, and I had no idea what I was going to be up against, and it hit me, and I was like, woo. So yeah, the burst is very, very nice and does a lot of damage. It has a few more things that you can cancel, which is quite nice because it will give it that extra bit of depth as well, because obviously always the worry is when, you know, a game, not to say simplifies the class, but when a game takes a bit of kit away, it's always worried that it's going to be simplified. So having those cancels just add that little bit more. One of the things that you're going to find, though, is that you're going to struggle to disengage from fights. Because if you looked at your old kit and the Awakening, you had some really good tools to disengage. Now, you've lost a lot of that. Now, because of that, your play style is going to change, especially if you do a lot of Node Wars. Rather than sort of being, potentially, I hate to say, with the blob and stuff and putting damage down, then maybe going in for those side kills, you really want to be more like a flanker now, which is an in-out mentality, or trying to find those fights on the side where you can have a 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, but not too much more. You want to go in, trade, and, you know, try and come back out, but you're not going to have that ability like you did before, so keep that in mind. So looking at our pros and cons list, you know, again, I feel like I'm saying this so much, we have huge burst damage now. The output of the burst damage is mad, it really is. So yeah, enjoy that. I've put it as a pro that it's focused on the melee fight now. You know, for some people might find that a con if they didn't enjoy the melee fight, but I think a lot of people in the DK really did enjoy going in. They enjoyed it when they got their, I don't say the, what was it called? You know, the, absolute skills. They enjoyed being able to use that kit again. So a lot of people do like this, and it does very well in PvE as well. I know it's probably the first time I've not, I have put it at the bottom. Yeah, I was going to say I didn't put it. I'll do it in order. It trades very well in 1v1s. It really does. So if you're fighting someone in a 1v1 and a Dark Knight comes up to you, unless you're going to grab it, you're probably not going to out damage it as a trade realistically. They do so much and it's so well protected. So yeah, keep that in mind. Yes, the PvE grinding is also very strong. It's better than what it used to be. Even though, to be fair, Dark Knight could grind quite well in a lot of places. But yeah, it's just better now. Same as most of the successions. And I keep saying most because I know, I do feel bad for the Tamers, the Berserkers, even though the Berserkers have a bit of buff. But we'll talk about that later / another video. So let's look at the cons. We've lost a bit of mobility. That was always going to be the case. This is a very standard trade-off for Cacao this time with the successions. You gain damage, you lose the trading potential. As far as your playstyle, you're going to have a different playstyle than what you had before. Much more in and out. You're going to go for the kill, then try and get back out, or you're going to try and take smaller fights. Your disengage is not as strong, so you really want to make sure you're winning these fights. If you're in a losing fight, you're going to struggle to get out like you could before. Obviously, no longer long-ranged. Again, like I said, some people might not bother about that. Some people that might actually, upset. So just keep that in mind. And the last thing to really say about it is stamina management. A lot of the Succession Dark Knights have been saying that they've noticed they've had to concentrate more on managing their stamina than what they did before. And that's because of the cancels that they have to do, take up the additional stamina. So, yeah, there is the skill cap there, and that is something you're going to have to keep in mind when you're playing this class. So, let's go to a little Succession overview. As far as I'd say, the Succession, really, it seems to be in a good place, and it's very similar to the other ones. Why? When I say that, I mean it has very high damage, and, you're trading out the mobility for it. So, that's similar to some of the other Successions that we've seen as well. And, in PvP, it's doing really well as long as the DK knows how to play in that new role now. Like I said, you're going to be more like taking those side fights. Yeah, it does really well, and it's nice. It's, aesthetically quite a nice class as well. So, yeah, in general, like I said, most Successions have had this very high damage. This one is no different. But what we are starting to see now, and this is my last point, and I've said I'm going to put this on another video, but I did want to put it here just to make the point. We are seeing our first set of nerfs come into the Successions now. A good example was the Sorks, the Rangers, and the Ninjas, which have all had, some considerable or fairly decent nerfs. Some which have definitely changed how the class performs compared to before, some which aren't, some which are fairly decent. And a good example of what we're also seeing is, for instance, like the Warrior is soon to be getting a buff to its Awakening. So keep that in mind. What they might be doing now is, once they've got everyone's Succession to I'll say a balanced part, a high damage where everyone's doing consistently high damage at the same level, I can imagine now that they're going to go through the Awakenings and try and bring them back up as well. So there is a real trade-off, because a lot of class at the moment, it's just go to one because it is pulling out so much better than the others, where there's not so many where it's sort of like half are going one, half going Awakening, half going Succession, because it's that close, it's that 50-50. I don't think that's the case in so many classes, and I think they're going to do that, or at least I hope they do. There's still one that comes to mind, which is, I'd still say, exceptionally broken because of what they can do, but I'll put that in the video, and then people can complain that I'm slagging off their class as per usual in the comments. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Apologies it's been so long. I have just been absolutely swamped, with being ill and actually, working IRL as well. Keep in mind, just a hobby for me, this, so, Anyway, please like, subscribe, follow, everything that I normally say, usual crap at the end of the video. So anyway, yeah, thanks a lot, guys. And if you've got any requests for stuff that you'd like to see coming up soon, please put it down below. I do have several ideas in the pipeline, some which take more time than others. And I've got to be realistic by what I can and can't do at the moment because of my IRL situations. But yeah, I'm always trying to get some cool ideas. So anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.